So let me ask you something. You probably thought Trump running for a third term was off the table. Case closed.
Now I met Alan Dershowitz, and he said the legal thing about 4 more years. And I said, Alan, I agree with you. So we can do it. Think about it.
Alan's here someplace. Where's Alan?
Alan is here. Oh, he had a flight. Alan is here.
Constitution says no. End of story. Well, as of the last day or so, that assumption doesn't look nearly as solid as people thought. Because what just happened wasn't rumor, it wasn't internet speculation, it was a very public signal. And if you were paying attention, it was meant to be heard. Donald Trump sent an intentional message. A billionaire mega donor openly floated the idea of backing Trump for a third term to the tune of $250 million. And at the same time, the Democrats are polling lower than skim milk. Their disapproval rating is colder than a well digger's ass, is what my grandfather used to say. It's deep. And at the same time, one of the most well-known constitutional legal minds in the country is arguing that it may actually be constitutional for Donald John Trump to do it all again. We're going to jump right into that because this whole combination matters. Not because it guarantees anything, but because it tells us where the conversation has moved. And Democrats are in full panic. They are running for the freaking hills right now because they don't have a candidate to put up against Donald Trump. Let's jump right into this. This is absolutely nuclear. It gave me chills. I had to put on my jacket. That's how cold I got. That is showing just how badly Americans disapprove of the Democrat Party. I'll let you listen to them directly from the horse's mouth, maybe the trough, maybe the septic tank, or the sewer, whatever you want to call CNN.
How are voters feeling about Democrats right now?
Yeah, I mean, Democrats in the minds of the American public are lower than the Dead Sea. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. The net approval rating for Democrats in Congress, you said it, Kate Baldwin, the lowest ever. Look at this. Overall, they are 55 points underwater. Their approval rating is south of 20%. It's even worse when you look at independents. Look at this. Negative 61 points. That means that their approval rating is 61 points lower than their disapproval rating. Quinnipiac has been polling this question for the better part of the 21st century. They have never found Democrats, at least those in Congress, and we're
So this is a definitive sign that the Democrat Party is on life support. Dr. Kevorkian should be called in right now. This isn't chatter anymore. This is positioning. And here is a memo that was prepared for release back in February of 2025. It's called the Third Term Project, the case for presidential tenure reform. Follow me on X. I will have a link to all of these articles there. I will put a link to that in the description so you can follow me and do a little of your own research. This is called the Third Term Project. And this lays out the entire plan for getting Donald John Trump back into office in 2028. Now, Donald Trump had an event there at the White House just the other day, and he labels this 2028 billionaire donor. And I hope you enjoy this as much as the Democrats do.
You want to come up, Miriam? Come up here, Miriam. Miriam gave my campaign, indirectly and directly, $250 million. When somebody can give you $250 million, I think that we should give her the opportunity to say hello. And Miriam, make it quick, because $250 million is not what it used to be.
She stood up
bravely.
And now I met Alan Dershowitz, and he said the legal thing about 4 more years. And I say, Alan, I agree with you. So we can do it. Think about
Miriam Adelson spoke to Alan Dershowitz in the White House, in the East Room of the White House, about Donald Trump running for a third term. Alan Dershowitz is a phenomenal constitutional lawyer. He knows exactly what he's doing. I believe he taught at Harvard or Princeton. Someone in the chat will correct me, whichever college I pick. Let's just say he taught at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. And I'm feeling like Bear Bryant is back on the sidelines. And I feel like Nick Saban is back in the sidelines. And I feel like Donald Trump is not leaving the sidelines because this happened in plain sight. In the East Room of the White House, he gave her the microphone with Trump himself signaling to the country that people should be prepared. Now, before anyone panics or cheers, let me be clear about what I'm doing here. I'm not here to break news. I'm not here to hype speculation. I'm here to help you understand what's actually being tested right now, politically and legally. Because when serious money and serious legal thinkers start saying things out loud, this is not accidental. There are zero coincidences in politics, and this is a Representative Andy Ogles, and he is going to bring up legislation. So you've got the money, you've got the legal mind, you've got the president, and now you have a representative pushing this. This is gaining real momentum, whether you like it or not.
Well, we're out of time, but hang on. So you want him to serve a third term? How are we going to get around the Constitution and everything else?
Well, I have a bill that would amend the Constitution that would allow any president who has served non-consecutive terms to run for a third term. That's only happened twice in history. So President Trump would be the individual who could actually run for a third term because he has not served consecutive terms.
All right.
Let me explain to you what Representative Ogles said. It's only happened 2 times in history where a president did not serve consecutive terms. He wants to amend the Constitution so that if a president doesn't serve consecutive terms, wins a second term, could run for re-election for a third term because then it would be consecutive terms. This is being put forward by a representative for Congress. And I believe a Republican, if they voted against this, would be committing political, unaliving. But at that point, right now, this is a trial balloon. It's all being floated. We've got 3 years left. This one thing is floating with about a $250 million bag of cash attached to it. You know how much money it takes to get the attention of Congress? About $1. So here's what made this moment so surreal. Miriam Adelson, she's an Israeli-American billionaire, widow of Sheldon Adelson, took the stage during the White House Hanukkah celebration. If you know her history, you already know she's not a casual donor. She poured roughly $250 million into Trump's previous campaign. But this time she wasn't just reminiscing or praising. She openly referenced legal arguments that she has already discussed with Alan Dershowitz. Yeah, that Alan Dershowitz, about the possibility of Trump serving additional years. I don't know about you. I'd love to get your opinion on what you think about this, what your neighbors think about this, what your friends, family, maybe even your foes think about it. But she then effectively said, I think about it and I'll back it. Trump has donors that are already floating the money. And that's when the legacy media went into full meltdown, because this isn't some fringe blogger throwing out theories. This is a billionaire donor invoking constitutional scholar who has built his entire career on dissecting legal gray areas and uncomfortable questions. We've got more of it. Nick Adams, USA. Alan Dershowitz is the greatest legal mind in world history. If he believes President Trump can legally run for a third term, I would support it. I trust our commander-in-chief to do the right and constitutional thing for America. There's a lot of military right now that would back Donald Trump because he just gave them a Christmas bonus of about $1,776. So he's got the military support. He's got the support of a lawyer, a billionaire. And now Axios is even running this article about 21 hours ago. The U.S. would be lucky if Trump serves even longer, the White House says, and Axios is running with it. I don't know what your thoughts are about this, but this is getting legs. This is really happening. And Dershowitz, Trump, they've got the money. They've got members of Congress. I've got a poll here. This is Kamala Harris is apparently gearing up for a run in 2028, along with President Trump now. Trump is polling better than her right now than she is. And right now, he's not legally, technically able to run, and he's still polling higher than she is. That is a real number to watch. Newsweek is running this. Donald Trump offered $250 million to run for a third term. Trump said he was offered $250 million. There's Miriam Adelson. When the liberal news media starts talking about it, you know it's real because they are worried, very worried. The Gateway Pundit, also the same sort of article. This is no joke. What has turned into a joke? Remember Obama saying that Trump was a joke, would never be president, and he dropped the mic? Well, he's been president twice. He's been president twice.
And now we learn that he's met the lawyer Alan Dershowitz, who has written a book on whether President Trump could run for a third time. The US Constitution appears to say no to that. Dershowitz says it's unclear.
Anytime someone goes against the left, they're called controversial. And that's exactly what this Sarah Rogers did to Dershowitz. Trump wants to run. It says technically if Trump wanted to run for a third term, as Obama never gave him a peaceful transfer of power. That is part of the Constitution.
Trump will not be president. Highly critical, biased text messages between senior FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page.
There will be no question about the outcome of this election.
And she got ahead of herself. This utterly stunned this campaign.
Head home. You should get some sleep. We'll have more to say tomorrow.
Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power.
The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy. We want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then the country succeeds.
These declassified documents that were just released.
Officials in the Obama administration were asking for the identities to be unmasked of Americans.
Unmasking of aides and staffers of the incoming president.
The basic charge, political spying.
To disrupt the peaceful transfer of power.
Unmasking of American citizens. It could be a real problem.
Why is it that the unmasking of Flynn somehow ended up in the pages of the Washington Post?
I know nothing about those moves to investigate Michael Flynn.
The vice president said that yesterday. And then the last name on this list is Joe Biden.
The Obama administration was bitter. They wanted to do everything they could to undermine the incoming Trump administration.
Really designed to sabotage and really upend the new administration.
An outgoing president and a vice president and a Washington Post columnist and the FBI setting up an incoming administration. Wow, that's a real conspiracy. And nobody wants to talk about it.
Did Donald Trump get a peaceful transfer of power? That's for you to decide. I am not here to tell you what to think. I'm not here to tell you how to vote. I am here to merely give my opinion. I'm telling you, this is gaining ground. This is getting legs. Donald Trump has seriously considered and is considering running for a third term. Dershowitz said he told Trump constitutionality of third term not clear. That means there is a gray area. That means there is an opportunity. And you know as well as I do that if you give Donald Trump an opportunity, if you bet against Donald Trump, he is going to do everything he can to show you you are wrong. The guy is a fighter. He does not quit. He looks for a challenge. He has everything. All he needs now is a challenge. That's why Donald Trump gets up in the middle of the night. That's why Donald Trump sends mean tweets. That's why Donald Trump ran for re-election and won. It's a challenge. He has this deep desire to prove the world wrong. And he has this deep desire to make America great again. And right now, that's exactly what he's doing. So the real issue isn't whether you like the idea or hate it. The real issue is this. What exactly is the argument being made? The obvious obstacle of course, with all this, is the 22nd Amendment, ratified after FDR's 4 terms, that no person shall be elected to the office of president more than twice. Trump has been elected twice, 2016, 2024. So at first glance, that seems like the end of it. But constitutional law is rarely just about vibes or surface reading. This is where the argument gets interesting. The amendment bars being elected more than twice, but it does not explicitly bar serving more than twice via succession. So if somebody else were to run and then step down, that distinction sounds a little more technical, maybe even sneaky. But in constitutional terms, this all matters. The theory goes like this. Trump could run as vice president in 2028. If that ticket wins, the president could resign, allowing Trump to assume the office through the normal constitutional line of succession with regards to power, not the election. Under that reading, Trump wouldn't be elected a third time. He would assume the office. Now, is that airtight? Absolutely not. Legal scholars are divided. The 12th Amendment complicates a few things by stating anyone constitutionally ineligible to be president is also ineligible to be vice president. So the real question becomes, is Trump eligible to the office itself or only ineligible to be elected to it? That distinction is exactly the kind of question Dershowitz specializes in. It's not the only path being discussed. Another route being openly explored by conservative legal groups involves a constitutional convention. Article 5 allows states to call one if 2/3 of legislators agree. It's extraordinarily difficult, but not impossible under the right political conditions, especially if Republicans surge redistricting. Those reshapes, the map, the Democrats stumble badly in midterms. There's even already a resolution introduced by Congressman Andy Ogles that I showed you that would allow Trump to do this. And then here's the wild card, Steve Bannon. Bannon has not been subtle. He's been explicit. He said repeatedly Trump is going to get a third term and people should start getting used to the idea. When he's been questioned about it, he doesn't give any details. He points to alternatives and methods, which tells you this isn't a single plan. Multi-pronged. We got a lot of legal groundwork to get to between now and then, but the Democrats are going to start freaking out. The coalition that once belonged to Obama, working class voters, minorities, Latinos, younger men, has shifted. Trump carried all 7 swing states. That wasn't accidental. Democrats know it. The establishment Republicans know it. And that's why this idea scares the hell out of people. Now, none of this guarantees a third term will happen, but it does tell us something important. The conversations move forward. It's happening behind closed doors. It's not speculation anymore. There's a little bit of hypothetical, but this has real legs. And when $250 million shows up alongside a scholar and Trump, it's not a joke. The guy just needs a reason to wake up. He needs a challenge. But I'm telling you, buckle up. This is not going away anytime soon. Thank you for watching. Smash the like and subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one.